In this video, we'll talk about most recent Google interview questions, and we will solve those problems using LeetCode. Hello, my name is Imran Chaudhary. I'm working as software engineer since 2013, and I have solved few hundred LeetCode problems and worked at Microsoft, Amazon, Oracle in the past. If you are new to this channel and preparing for coding interview, consider subscribing. So why LeetCode? LeetCode became de facto standard for solving programming questions at FANG companies because you can solve all the problems using intuitive architecture. And if you have premium subscription, then actually you'll be able to see all the previous years or actually company-specific questions. So we will dive deep into the last 6 months questions. So what you can do, this is the Google interview questions for last 6 months, and I'm showing the video how we can get into this screen. And basically for last 6 months, I sorted based on the frequency, and you will see these are the most asked questions in the Google interview. And let's get into the LeetCode website. So if you get into LeetCode website and if you have premium subscription, you'll be able to see actually all the trending companies questions. If you click this Google screen, you will be able to see all the problems here. And then what you can do, you can select this 6 months. So we'll try to look at the 6 months questions. And basically you can sort based on frequency. And we will do descending order. Then you'll be able to get into this screen. The to-sum, merge sorted array, viewers, turned streamers, create hello world functions, and minimum number of increments, right? So these are the top 6 questions was asked in Google interviews. And for this video, we will try to solve at least top 3 questions. So these are the part to-sum, merge sorted array, and create hello world function. And in the part 2 of this video, you'll be able to see the other 3 questions. So let's get into the problem and then let's see how we can solve this. So if you click this to-sum problem, you'll be able to come into this picture. I'll just reload these things. So for this problem, basically for the to-sum, we are given a integer array and also a target. We want to figure out if we can find a pair which value is sum up to this numbers 9. So this is a pretty interesting questions because this question is asked a lot of times in the interviews or some variation of these questions. So if you want to solve this problem, there are a couple of constants you can take a look. So there are only one valid answer exists, and there'll be at least 2 numbers. So you can safely assume you don't need to do any sort of validation check for this problem if you want to get it solved, right? So we'll use Python to solve this problem. So let's draw this one. So we have 2, 7, 11, and 15. This is our array. And this is the index, you can see. And we want to find 9. So there are multiple ways to solve this problem. One way, actually, you can write a recursive function, not recursive function, using 2 nested for loops to go through all the numbers one at a time, which will be order in a square algorithm. If you want to make it efficient, what you can do, for each of the value, you can store it as a dictionary. And finally, when you are looking into the dictionary, you can figure out what value you have already seen and check the dictionary. So you'll use that approach. That's the efficient one. So it will be order, n time, runtime complexity, and order and space complexity. Basically, we can have a dictionary which will store all the key value pair. And for index and value, n in enumerate of nouns. What basically we are doing, we are going through each index and a value. So we are getting 0 as an index and 2 as a number. we are looking for the difference what will made up to this target. So basically target minus n we are looking for. If you already saw this value inside this dictionary, make it a scene here. Then you can return that result as an array, basically scene of div. And for each of the values you want to store in the dictionary. Yeah, that's how you implement this solution. And you can hit submit. And if you want to look into in detail how to solve this problem, there is another video I already created. I will link it to the description below. So let's look into the second problem, merge sorted array. So these are the merge sorted array problem. So we are given two integer array, nums1 and nums2. And we want to merge these two integer array together. So we have, let's write it down. So in the first one, we have 1, 2, 3, and then all the zeros. And second one is 2, 5, 6. So for this problem, main thing what we want to do actually, we want to merge these two arrays together. But one interesting thing you need to do, you will create all the sorted array from this is our nums1 and nums2, but all the value needs to be sorted. And you will not return anything. You will actually update the value in place for nums1. So basically you want to update this whole nums1 array. So this will be the result array. So to solve this problem, what we will do, and there are some extra space at the nums1. So you can use this extra space to solve this problem. So what we can do that there are three elements here. So there are two other variables given, m is the number of elements, and n also number of elements in this array. So when you are checking this, update these values, you basically want to check this one, the last of this value, and also this 6, right? And check actually which is the largest one. You see actually 6 is the largest. So you basically replace this 0 with the 6. As soon as you actually remove this 6, then you will go back to the next two value, like 3 and 5 here, right? And you see 5 is the largest, so you basically replace 5 here and cut down this one. Then you check 3 and 2, and you see 3 is largest, so you put the 3 here. Then you are checking this 2 with this 2, and you can take any one of them, right? So if you take these 2, then you get 2 here. And then you are checking these 1 with these 2. So 2 is largest, so you put 2 here, and then finally 1 here, right? So this is the result you will update in place. So this is not that much hard problem, but main issue is that you need to be very careful about all the indices and when any of the array was already exhausted. So if you can take care of these two, then it's pretty easy to implement. So let's go ahead and implement these ones. So we are given two elements. So I'll just make it larger. So nums1 and nums2, and also m and n. So for our final case, there will be k number of elements. So it should be m plus n. These are the number of elements. And if we consider the index, so we'll get the -1. We'll reduce m by 1, n by 1, so that we can get into the index 1. And while we want to do, while k is greater than or equal 0, and m is greater than or equal to 0, and n is greater than or equal to 0. So if we have k elements in the final array, and then m is the number of elements in the first array, n is the number of elements in the second array. If all of them are greater than 0, we want to check actually which number is greater. So nums1 of f is greater than nums2 of n. If that's the case, then we want to update the nums1 of k. So for this case, if we take a look at here, then our k is basically 5. So we want to update this location. We reduce m, so m becomes right now 2, and n becomes 2. So for each of the element, we are checking this 3, 2 here. And if the first element nums1 of m is greater than nums2 of m, then we'll update the nums1 of k. Basically, we are taking that value and put it to the end of this array. And then you do it. And since you took actually m, so you reduce this m. Other case, you basically want to do the same thing, nums1 of k, but you get the value from the second array. So this is n, and since we got this one, we reduce this value. So this is the case when we actually put this 6, compare 6 and 3, and then put the 6 here. And finally, since you got this one, you reduce that k value by 1. So this while loop will actually work when k is greater than 0, m is greater than 0, and n is greater than or equal to 0. So if none of them are true, then you come to here. And then if your only m is greater than 0 and k is greater than 0, that means the second array has been already exhausted. So you basically copy all the values from nums1 to num. And you basically reduce the value for this one. Same thing for this one. So if your n is greater than 0 and k is greater than 0, you just copy all the values to nums1 of k equal to, you're getting the value from nums2. And you reduce n by 1, k by 1. Yeah, that's it. So let's see if it works. Yep, and hit submit. And you can actually make it a little bit more efficient, all these -1 and also the decreasing value. You can make it a little bit concise, but I'm just trying to solve it as easy way as possible. So let's go ahead to the next problem. We'll solve another problem like create hello world function. This is an easy problem. And in the next part of 2, we will solve the other 3 problems. So if you take a look at this hello world function, so let's make it a little bit bigger. So this is a JavaScript or TypeScript type problem only for UI engineer questions, and it's an easy problem. So basically, we're going to write a hello world function. It should return a new function which always return hello world. So we are already given a structure of the function that create hello world, which is a function. And this part, inside of this part, this is return a function, right? Because it should return a new function, which is actually doing return functions. And it returns hello world. So if you want to solve this problem, there are multiple ways to solve this problem. You can basically just return, copy this one, right? So return this one. So that's one way to solve this problem, right? So this is one way to solve this. If you don't want to use this return word, you can make it a little bit more efficient using some sort of inline functions. So you can basically take this whole thing, return hello. I'll just make it commented out. Or you can just do return hello world. So that would be the another solution. And if you want to take the arguments together, then you can put that one too. So you can do return. That should work too. Yeah, you can hit submit and take a look. Actually, these are the different ways you can solve this problem. That's all the problem we wanted to solve in this video. In the next part 2 video, we'll solve the other 3 problems. The viewer turned streamers, minimum number of increments, and also the merge string alternately. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the part 2 video.